Myanmar State TV has warned that, quote, action will be taken against any protesters who break the law. The announcement coming as tens of thousands of people across the Southeast Asian nation have joined a third day of demonstrations after a military coup. Police used water cannon in the capital to disperse protesters who are demanding the release of their leaders, including Aung San Suu Kyi.
1 week on from the arrest of their elected leader, Myanmar has grown bolder. Protesters in the capital, Naypyidaw, faced police water cannons on Monday, blocking their path. Their only weapons, a three-finger salute, which has come to represent the pro-democracy movement. In addition to the street protests, a nationwide strike began on Monday. A campaign of civil disobedience has all the while been growing louder, launched by medical personnel. We all are nurses from a government hospital and NGO. Our goal is to help the civil disobedience movement succeed and ensure the military system fails. We health workers are leading this campaign to urge all the government staff to join the CDM. Our message to the public is that we aim to completely abolish this military regime, and we have to fight for our own destiny. Protests have now spread across the country after the army chief seized power on February 1st. The military detained leader Aung San Suu Kyi and dozens of her party members, accusing them of election fraud. Demonstrators are demanding her release and the restoration of her government. The rallies have so far been peaceful, unlike bloody crackdowns during widespread protests in previous decades. But pressure is building. The protests are growing bolder, and demonstrators continue to be met with a greater show of force from authorities.
And for more, let's bring in Yun Mayat Twa, who is an activist joining us from Mandalay in Myanmar. Welcome to the program, and thank you so much for joining us. What have you been seeing transpire there?
Yes, they cut off all of our internet lines, and even so, they cut off our they banned our social media, Facebook and Twitter, and they want us not to spread the news that we are protesting against them. And even in the news right now, they announced in the national news that we people accept the military. They are releasing all the false news on the news channel. And that is why we are now in every part of the country, in our country right now. That is why we are peacefully protesting and doing civil disobedience campaign all over the world, all over our country.
Okay, so peaceful protest. But, in the meantime, we've heard this warning from the military. They have promised, quote, action against any protesters who break the law. A clear warning to demonstrators there. Does that make you nervous?
Actually, I might say yes, because right now we all know what they're doing, and they have a group of people that they hire, and even they have some prisoners from the prison, and that group of people, they were trying to trick us by choosing violence, and you can see in that group of people there are some people from their side, and they use the people to do against the law, and that what really happened in that part of the country. That they had a group of people and they started saying bad things to the police, and they threw water bottle to the police, and the police started shooting to the innocent people out there too. And that is why that's really scared me, and because I highly say that they are not the citizens that are peacefully protesting. They are just a group of people that they hire to do all these bad things to make us scared.
Okay, so you believe that the military is behind that. We're seeing masses. We've seen images there, masses of people taking to the streets, even despite potentially facing consequences. We've heard the threats from the military. What do people in Myanmar want for their future?
We want our elected government because we voted, and we voted because we trust them, and and right now we really want them to release her and our president, and also our elected the government leaders too. Right now they even formed their own government with all the people that we didn't vote for, and that is why we're asking for our rights back, and we want our democracy back, and we want them to respect our vote and give us back our country future back.
Nguyen Mayat Twa joining us from Myanmar. As we mentioned, you're one of the activists who's bravely taking to the streets to protest against this coup by the military in your country. And we thank you so much for joining us to share that perspective.
And thank you so much for letting me in this program and spreading our news to other parts of the country. That's a lot to us. Thank you so much.
For more of this story, I'm now joined by Lonay, a filmmaker and activist in the economic capital, Yangon. He's obscuring his face for safety reasons. How are security forces they're handling the protests? Is there a palpable escalation?
Yes, at this point, everything is a bit unpredictable because there are more people than the days before. They're at least double or triple the amount right now. We heard the news from Naypyidaw as well, but in Yangon, police has not used any violence so far. They're basically moving around congested areas rather than heavily stationed somewhere else. And then we have seen some people trying to cooperate with police. So all in all, here it's so far just peacefully people just walking on the streets, including nurses, medical workers, lawyers, even the staff from ministries trying to support the civil disobedience movement.
The internet and social media access have been disrupted yesterday. How are people getting their information? How are they contacting each other to organize this protest?
Right now, we have a brief, we're hoping we will have the internet for longer, but we are not sure at this point because it's been on and off. For example, if we don't have the internet, we have to rely solely on phone calls and SMS. Then if we don't have any phone network at all, which happened on the first day of the coup, then what happens is we have to use some offline apps like Bluetooth messaging and so all these things. So, so our concern right now is that there are a lot of support that we need to provide for civil disobedience movement. But right now, we're hoping the information flow stays the same because there are a lot of fake news and rumors running around. So we hope to reduce that and then get the correct information across other people.
Tell me, how do protesters feel about Aung San Suu Kyi? Does she still enjoy widespread support?
Well, in a sense, yes. But for example, you might see there are a lot of, yesterday there were a lot of people wearing red and supporting NLD. But for today, for example, there are a lot of, especially younger people wearing black and blue shirts just to show that, it's not just about one party, and this is about everyone for the whole population, including minorities and different religions, people of different age. This concerns everyone in the country, and that they want to show that this is civilians against authoritarian military regime government.
Thank you very much. Lonay, an activist and filmmaker in Myanmar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gerhard.